Ike loved his family. Like, he loved his family. But his children, the love he had for those kids, oh God.
January 26, 2025 was a day that shattered a community. Dr. Ikenna Erinne, a man who spent his life stitching hearts back together, took his own. A $15,000 in more child support ruling, a father-in-law viral smear campaign, a Nigerian diaspora torn between shame and grief. This isn't just a story about suicide. It's about the system, secrets, and stigma that killed him. Tonight, we unravel the storm. This episode discusses allegations currently under investigation. Public figures are named. Please verify facts independently. Dr. Ikenna Erinne was Enugu's golden child. The boy who aced the exam by kerosene lamp became one of Houston's youngest cardiothoracic surgeons and sent half his paycheck home to build a clinic. But behind the Mercedes and designer scrub, a man drowning was a man drowning. 94 hours a week. A boy, Chike, diagnosed with severe autism. A wife, Sussex, who pleaded, "We need therapy." Ikenna, not just for Chike, for us.
Therapy. In our culture, that one is scandal.
Exactly. You see, for those of you that don't know, in Nigerian homes, mental health is whispered, is something when you're walking around, you hush around about it. Because it's seen as a curse, it's seen as a taboo. In fact, one of the highest insults you can throw to a typical Nigeria is "you're mad." It's so bad that depression, mental health, I think is something brand new, freshly done. In fact, a typical Nigerian man will be like, if you're talking about mental health, they'll tell you it's not a black man's sickness. It's not a Nigerian sickness, right? Meanwhile, low-key, if you're driving the streets of Lagos, you could swear that everybody's mad. And if you see the way we move, like, it can be up for debate. But jokes aside, this is a serious issue, right? When Caesars even filed for divorce, the court didn't see a father buckling under the pressure of $350K of medical school debt. They saw a paycheck. $15,000 a month. Subtract $5 for Chike's therapy, then $3 for insulin for Ikenna's diabetic mother in Enugu. He was left with not much. The American dream. A debt trap disguised as success.
To be fair, some Nigerians will see it as a golden opportunity. Not much if you subtract it. Do you know how many Nigerians are joke at the opportunity to Japan?
Well, fair enough. Judging by how many Nigerians fast and pray to Japa, yourself, who will not Japa? Look at the country.
Ike loved his family. Like, he loved his family. But his children, the love he had for those kids, oh God. His passing is deeply mourned by his devoted parents, Engineer Chris and Mrs. Erinne. As a dedicated cardiologist, he committed his life to healing others, saving countless lives, and profoundly impacting his patients, colleagues, and community.
Before we could mention Jack Robinson, guess who entered the stage? Francis Van Larry. For those of you that don't know, it took us by shock to realize that, the man in question, the woman who was being bashed for being the cause of Ikenna's suicide, was actually the daughter of Francis Van Larry, a self-proclaimed alpha male. and the social media villain. This man, at his old age, is eager for clout, right? 2 hours after Ikenna's death, Francis rose up like a used tampon and live streamed from his Lagos mansion and was like, not even letting the dead man breathe, asking questions, sending us on an errand. Ask Susan why he hid millions in Nigeria. Lies. Those hidden funds built a pediatric ward in Enugu. But Francis didn't care about what was happening. I doubt it. He went so far to deepfake Ikenna's voice. And in the recording, we heard Susan crying. And so the trauma to influencers. Hashtag Deadbeat Daddy. This trended for weeks.
Is this even legal?
It's not. But you know how the algorithm feeds on rage and clickbait and all. So apparently Francis' video hit 10 million views. And guess what? Brands paid him to share ancestral healing tea. Oh God, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. During Ikenna's funeral. Meanwhile, Susan donated every cent of child support to autism charities. But you see, these internet trolls, they went up and down. They didn't let her breathe. Talking about how they want blood. Comments here and there. Talking about how abroad women are arrogant. She forgot her place. And if I'm being honest, the internet wasn't fair on her. And it's typical, right? As a Nigerian woman, it's typical for you to just be thrown or bashed just like that, unprovoked, because how dare she fight for divorce? How dare she demand for whatever? Like automatically, in fact, she was even accused of being a charity case for Ikenna. Like he was the one that took her abroad. 2 different accusations on her name just because she dared to prioritize her safety and the child's safety. And again, there's this trend. I don't know if you've heard about it. There's this trend that is going on now, sponsored by the Red Pills, Nigerian Red Pills, right? They talk about how Nigerian men shouldn't travel out with their wives, that whenever they travel out, they cross over, they turn into some kind of monsters that push their husband out of the family home. And if you do a deep research about it, you find out that most of the reported incidents, most of the times, most Nigerian women don't even report about the incidents. The ones that do are the ones that their husbands are abusing. They're abusing in Chicago. If you go, 911 calls are being called every time because some Nigerian men choose that this is the best day to lay hands on their wives and their spouse. And we're living in a country where such is not condoned. In Nigeria, however, if you do it here, you cannot arrest your husband. In fact, there's some domestic abuse that will go on in your own home. You go out, you go to the police to report, and they'll tell you that husband and wife, they don't fight. Even RAPE is not even seen as it's like you're married, your body is your husband's own. Who are you keeping it for? So the culture here endorses some backward, low vibrational behavior, while out there it doesn't. So it makes sense why, even to the point some women were questioning why, how dare she leave her marriage? How dare she demand for child support? So everything was escalated. But this is what they missed. Okay, Susan worked 9 shifts as a nurse to cover Chike's therapy. She wasn't the kind of the woman that spent frivolously on her clothes. In fact, she hasn't bought shoe in 3 years. But in our culture, a woman's sacrifice is invisible until it's being weaponized against her. Like, even if she chooses to buy shoes and all, if she can afford it, why not? So we even got to know about this whole story because of Van Larry, her father. He had to come out, even though he came out with some fake stories, but there was some truth to it. This lady was practically innocent here. And I feel like one of the reasons why people didn't pay attention to him. You remember last year when Van Larry went public with 3,000, over 3,000 women he slept with. He even included his own wife at the time, which she left, right? He included them. This man, a lot of people were like, is this middle age crisis? I'm like, no, this man is above middle age crisis. He's above 40. He's 40 plus at this moment. So maybe because, and again, due to his eagerness to clout chase, we didn't pay attention. But along the line, trust netizens to do their research and put out all the receipts.
And honestly, I feel like him talking kind of worsened the whole thing. Like I said earlier, he's not new to controversies. Even that incident during 2023 December, that this man at his 70 years old birthday posted a picture of all the women he has had genital meet and greets with, right? He publicly did it. So when people heard about him being Ikenna's father-in-law, people were like, "Oh, it makes sense." They were like, "An apple can't fall far from the tree," you know, accusing her. Oh, she must have, for her father to even brag of having 5 different divorces. Oh, she must have learnt from her father. People weren't kind to her. So he worsened it by even talking. The part I didn't like was those who thought Kama visited him. This guy is a mess. You think he felt anything about his daughter? You think he cared? Although he was gradually almost winning Father of the Universe. I mean, if one didn't know him, you say he won Feminist Stroke Daddy of the Year. But that man is messy. According to him, he has done over 350 women, but the other ones were not memorable. But according to him, the ones that were memorable, he posted it, which garnered critics worldwide. Shockingly for some people, this wasn't the first time he's gone public for something this silly. In 2016, he went ahead to publicize the picture of him and his wife when he was grabbing her boobs on social media. Few months after, on August, Amara, who is a relationship coach, divorced him few months later, which she publicly announced on her socials.
Which was, by the way, Francis' 5th and last attempt to marriage in love. Or so we thought. But it was not long after. Barely a year later, he found love again and married his Abuja-based Calabar Tanzanian wife.
It's the women that keep going for him for me.
Or what? You have to give it to him. He's living the man dream. I'm sure somewhere will be dating him in one way. I mean, he is very patient towards his grief and he's getting pretty women as much as you go now. I might understand the thought process that say that men are the prize.
Well, you can say that again, even though we know most men are not going to get that much women, right? But when one of his followers asked him why he keeps divorcing immediately after marrying one wife and to another, this man admitted, just like his previous failed marriages, the reason why they all leave is because he can get them anytime he wants them.
I swear, guys living the dream. It's getting more interesting.
Well, to the internet and the troll, yes. And maybe for us content creators, a little dicey. But we forgot something. There's a child in the mix. Ikenna's final gift to his daughter wasn't money. It was a phone tucked inside her teddy bear. I bought puff puff for you. I'll fix this. I promise. But the world called him a deadbeat dad. At his funeral, Kamsi handed Susette a drawing. Her dad as a superhero with a cracked chest. The caption, Daddy fought monsters.
But the real monsters are out there.
Monsters like 76% of single moms in Texas living in poverty after child support. Monsters like Nigerians' uncles blaming Susette for breaking her husband home. This isn't Susette vs. Ikenna. It's a broken system vs. us all. In Nigeria, suicide isn't a tragedy. It's a curse. Ikenna family lied. Heart attack. But his cousin leaked the autopsy. Antidepressant in his veins. The diaspora response. Why shame us? Not how do we heal? Online forums exploded. Susette emasculated him. Abroad women are cursed.
I can't remember where I saw it, but even his mom called her a traitor.
His mom that survived 30 years of her own fair share of trauma in Ikenna's father's hand. She told Susette endure like I did. And why do older women, especially most of these our aunties, expect us to endure some of the traumas just because you passed through it? It's almost like a rite of passage. This is the cycle. Women burning alive, then blaming others for screaming. Meanwhile, 1 in 3 Nigerian women endure abuse to avoid divorce or shame. Susette refused and paid the price for stepping out and deciding that she prioritized the safety of her and her child. Ikenna's death wasn't wasted. Susette lobbied Texas to cap child support at 15% of income. Now, Ikenna's law, Nigeria's therapist launched counseling to immigrants that.
But what about this thing?
Ikenna's last voicemail to Kamsi says it all. If superheroes exist, yours is coming. Love that. Before we wrap up today's episode, I would encourage everyone out there, please check out on your loved ones. Make sure they're doing okay. This is already late, and I always make sure I check on my immediate family. But I have an uncle who I need to check on. I'll do just that. But please make sure, especially the ones who seem strong, especially the ones who seem like they got it all together. You'll be surprised that some people out there are just a ticking time bomb. And also, please, I know the country is hard. I know a lot of things are happening. Try to be kind to one another. It won't take you much to be a decent human being. I'm not saying when someone is moving mad, you don't act accordingly. No, that's not what I'm saying here. We don't do that here, okay? Our motto here is if you do anyhow, you see anyhow. No, I'm talking to those out there who are just living their life. Maybe you feel a bit bad. Sometimes even when you go out, even when things are not working out for you and you go out of your way to be a little bit kind to someone, it kind of elevates your spirits. And I know sometimes you might not get the reward you expect, but do it for yourself. Do it for the you in the future. You don't know whose life you will touch with just a little kindness. You don't know whose mood you will shift. You don't know who's passing you by. You don't know what motive they have in their mind. Maybe they're trying to jump third mainland bridge. You don't know. Or you're just smiling at them. You're just being kind to them can ignite something in them. Okay? It's not your duty. You're not responsible for others. If you feel like you don't have it in you, it's okay. But I'm saying even for yourself, I feel like we underestimate how being kind out there could go, how long it could go. So if you're also there, you're suffering in silence, speak out, right? Speak out. Talk to your friends, especially if you know your friends are there for you. Talk to them. Scream until this system hears you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you share, like, drop your comments below, and good night.